Hello and welcome to the freebets.com Premier League preview. Joined as ever by Matt Le Tissier, who's going to talk you through the fixtures this weekend. First up, Matt, Crystal Palace versus Villa. 11 to 10, you can get about the home side. 12 to 5, Villa. Both teams on 34 points, both teams not out of the woods yet.
No, but I think Crystal Palace out the two teams in much better form. Villa obviously got some injury blows to contend with. So I think for me in this one, Crystal Palace look the more likely. 11 to 10 for a home team in the form they've been in. They beat Chelsea on their last home game. I think that's a decent price. Yeah, and a big win as well at Cardiff for Palace. They're doing a good job there, Pulis, isn't he? Oh, he's done an incredible job. I think the position that they were in when he took over, Ian Holloway didn't have the greatest of starts there, and everybody had written them off. Done a fantastic job to put them in this position. Another relegation dogfight across London at Craven Cottage, Matt. Fulham versus Norwich. 11 to 10 Fulham, 13 to 5 Norwich, 5 to 2 the draw. Dreadful record at Craven Cottage, Norwich. Got battered at the last 5 times they've been there, but they really need a result, don't they? They're in a desperate situation. I think if they lose this game, I think they're in massive danger of going down. It'll bring the gap between the two sides to 2 points. Everybody's spoken about Norwich's last 4 games, where they're going to pick up points from there. I'm not really sure. Fulham have got a few home games left, but their home form isn't particularly good either this season. I think it's probably their worst home season for many a year. So it's going to be a tough one, but I think 11 to 10, I think Fulham will probably just have the nod for me. Your team, Saints, have got Cardiff, did the job in Cardiff on Boxing Day, won 3-0, and of course Cardiff lost 3-0 on their last outing as well. Saints 1 to 2, I think just about the shortest on the card this weekend. Pretty easy, comfortable home draw, or home win rather, I should say, or will Cardiff turn up and get something? I'd be very surprised if Cardiff turn up and got something, to be honest. I expected a reaction from them in the Crystal Palace game. They were at home. Came away with that absolutely battered in the end, so I find it very difficult to see them going to St Mary's and get anything out of that game, and even at 1 to 2 I'd still be back in the home side. Into the Midlands now, Stoke versus Newcastle. Both teams pretty evenly matched, 10th versus 9th, but both teams off the back of poor results. Newcastle obviously got beat by United, and Stoke went down to Chelsea. Who's going to bounce back the best? I think Stoke at home are a different proposition to going away. I know it was a fairly comfortable victory for Chelsea in the end, but I think when they're playing at home, they're a completely different proposition. Newcastle have struggled to score goals recently. Had a lot of blanks in their last 10 or 12 games. So you'd expect, I think, 5 to 4 Stoke. That for me is decent value. Yeah. Okay, Sunderland versus Everton next up. Gus Poyet says Sunderland need a miracle, having not won since they beat Newcastle actually at the start of February. Not the team you want to be playing if you need a miracle, in form Everton. Yeah, not at the moment. I mean, the way Everton went about defeating Arsenal last weekend was just absolutely fantastic. Great performance, and you'd expect them to back that up with a win against the Sunderland side who have looked devoid of ideas really in the games that I've been watching. Haven't really put themselves in the match too often, and I can see only an away win in this one. 5 to 6 Everton for that one. Do you think Everton can sneak into the Champions League places? They have a very good chance. Obviously there's still some tough fixtures left, and Arsenal are still favourites, but they've given themselves, by that victory last weekend, given themselves a great chance of doing it, and I think we're in for an exciting end to the season. Okay, finally on Saturday we've got West Brom versus Tottenham. Big victory for the Baggies against Norwich last time out. Tottenham fairly inconsistent, you have to say. Great win against Sunderland, but we've already discussed how bad Sunderland are at the moment. Which Tottenham will turn up at the Hawthorns? Difficult to predict. It really is. Obviously Tim had a decent start at Spurs. It has been a little bit inconsistent of late. But the win last weekend against Sunderland would have given them a real boost, I would have thought, especially going 1-0 down in the game. With confidence a bit thin, you might have expected that they might have struggled a little bit, but they went on, won it pretty comfortably. As you say, West Brom, very important win at Norwich. That was the result that got Chris Hughton the sack, really, let's be honest. And a massive 3 points for them. That gives themselves a real good chance of staying up now, because they were looking like they were struggling. I'd still expect, I think, Spurs, if the real Spurs turn up, I think they should have too much for West Brom. Okay. 7 to 5 Tottenham in that one. If you're going to go against Matt, 11 to 5 West Brom, 5 to 2 the draw. So that's Saturday's fixtures in the Premier League. Good luck with your bets. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope your team wins, and best of luck from www.freebets.com.